Well, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Stern FX Live with me. Here is my name on the screen in case you don't know. Um, for those of you who are with me here, please say hi. This is a live event, almost a plugged in, or not plugged in, unplugged. So, feel free to interrupt me, ask questions, and let me know how you feel. So I'm doing good. You also looks amazing. And Tom is also saying, hey. So hello, Tom. You can also mention where you are from. I think that I know that you are from Tel Aviv. So I'm just going to guess and I'm going to say hello for all of my friends from Tel Aviv. Anyhow, I'm here to tell you a little bit about my favorite tools. It's actually going to be just one tool. So a big spoiler at the beginning. And instead of wasting time, let's do this thing. Let's just switch to our favorite app in the world, which is After Effects. And we also have a few other people who are joining in, like Moti and Michelle and Harinder, probably destroying your name, and Cheatin. So everyone, welcome. So good to see you here. Also someone from Argentina, which is 7 Mo Frame Film Plus Post. That's an original name. Anyhow, I'm going to continue and you can interact with me. So as I told you, we are here to see a few of my favorite, actually a tool that I worked with for the last month. So I'm just going at the outset of the movie. It's not a movie, it's a live show to show you a few tools that you may already know about. And these are the ones that I'm not going to cover. So if you do like me to cover this one for MT MoGraph, which is Motion 4, let me know. This deserves its own live show. But it's not the star of the evening. So we're going to close this. And by evening, I mean evening at least where I am. This is also one of my favorite tools. And we're not going to cover it as well. So No Animation Composer, also a very capable tool. This one also has a free version, which is amazing. I'm also not going to cover Overlord because I think that you already know and love Overlord. So what the heck I'm going to talk about? Well, I'm going to go to the window menu and I'm going to show it to you. This is it. This is Mobar. And I know some of you thinking there is another tool which has a similar name, Kbar, which allows you to create some customizable, shareable toolbars. Things that you can, add some buttons and other stuff. It's a collection of very time-saving tools in one place that helps you create projects quickly and easily navigate inside After Effects. But this one is something special, and I only found out about it in the last month. So full disclosure, before I'll start to show it to you, and this is why we are doing it in a live format, because there's so many things to show here. But again, full disclosure, this is not a sponsored video. So I got the script free from AE Scripts, but they didn't ask me to do a video or review it. It's totally up to me what I'll do with it. So, just to let you know, there is a free version, a free trial that you can try. And I worked with this for the last month or so and slowly fell in love with it, and until it couldn't be... I couldn't live without it. It's almost like an air condition. So I wish to share my personal experience with it and hopefully convince you to invest in it. So, before we're going to dive in, and I'm going to, when you're going to see it in YouTube, the recording will have all the links for everything. But now I'm just going to tell you that, the K-bar that I spoke about in the beginning, also from AE Scripts, this is around $30. Motion that I showed you before, very capable tool, around 79. And this is just in between. This is 59 at the time of the recording. The one that I showed you also, the Animation Composer, it's free with like in-app purchases. And of course, because I talked about it, Overlord is 66. So just, to give you some numbers, we are in around, $60 in this case. This is it. This is the panel. And basically it saves you a lot of stuff. So it is a condensed, almost like the best of the best tools. So each one of these is going to open up another set of tools. And I want to show you how to use it. So before I'm going to dive deeper, I'm going to first talk a little bit about the interface. So I'll click over here on the cogwheel and show you that if this installs you, you can switch to some colorful interface. You've got a couple of other options here. Actually, more than a couple. So let's just visit them, just in case you are wondering. I'm going to leave myself with this one. And there are also a few other options to show the menu and tool names besides the icon. So, you can hide it. And once you hover on top of it, it's going to show it to you. To be honest, because I'm using it so much, it now becomes part of my extras workspace. So if I click on extras, you can see I'm parking it over here. All the other things are going to stay the same. And you can see that also I'm using Overlord, but this is again not the topic of this lesson or this video. So let's see first what we have. I'm just going to click on this search, and this is very similar to FX Console, meaning that it will allow you to search not only tools within the script, but also anything in After Effects. So for example, if I'm going to select a layer and click on this search and type in, let's say, curves, I can, apply the curves effects immediately. Now, it's a bit slow to click on it every time. So before I'm going to start, I'm just going to show you what I recommend for you to do as well, which is just to define a keyboard shortcut for the quick search. So in the keyboard shortcuts, I'll type in Mobar, and I should be able to see it. Here it is, the Mobar quick search. I'll click over here, and I'm going to use Control Tab, which I think is a free keyboard shortcut for both OSs, or OS, or OSs, I don't know, whatever, both Windows and Mac. So if I'm going to toggle this, of course, the tool must be available on the screen. It's just going to pop up this thing, which shows me the last things that I search. And of course, I can start working with it. All right, not too interesting, not something to write home about. Let's dig in and see what we have here. So we have a bunch of tools. Each one is going to help us in a different category. And I've prepared a few compositions to show you how to work with it. And of course, there is this plus button, which allows you to add your own stuff. So you can add an expression or a script file or effect that you are using, or any of the Mobar tools. All right, so let's see it in action. I've got this composition over here. I'm using the Draft 3D mode for now, so I'm just going to quickly play it for you. It's a work in progress. Some of you may recognize it from courses that I taught at the past. Anyhow, I have a few layers here. It's using the Cinema 4D renderer. And let's just click over at the selection option, and I'm going to dock this. So it's just going to stay on screen. It will help me to just go through all the tools and show you. Now, I'm not going to be able to cover everything here. I'll try to give you the things that I think are the most useful stuff. But again, I urge you to try it on your own and see what works for you. So let's start, for example, with lights here. Select lights. I've got a lot of lights in the scene. I can select them in one click of a button. Of course, I could do it from After Effects. And I'm just going to turn them on, as well as switch off the Draft 3D mode. Let's also park the cursor over here, so we'll see something a little bit more interesting, maybe a little bit before, because I do want to talk about those three guys over here. All right, I'll press F2, which is the shortcut for deselect. You can also press Command-Shift-A, Control-Shift-A on the Windows side. And you've got other stuff as well. So for example, if I'm going to select something, you can inverse the selection. You can select all the layers at the current frame, which is really super handy. So if I'll go over here and click on this guy, it's just going to select everything under the current time indicator. So this is very useful. I'm hiding it with my frame. So here it is. You can see everything is selected behind or underneath the mouse and the cursor. Again, super helpful, I think. You can also do some arbitrary stuff like, select random layers, if this makes sense, or select odd or even layers. Like, there are like keyboard shortcuts here. So if you're going to click with Control or Option, it's going to do the opposite. Select text object, I think, explained itself. Select null object, select pre-compose. So in this case here, this is our pre-comp. So a lot of very nice and very handy selection tools that can help you to work faster. But let me show you how you can actually use it. So again, I'm going to press F2 and let's go over here when we have both of them, or actually three of those guys on screen. And momentarily, I'm just going to switch off the name of the band. So we're going to just concentrate on those three guys. And let's say that I want to change the way the light affect them. So these are 3D layers. So I can press or double tap the letter A to get quickly to the geometry options as well as the material options. And I'm going to click on the diffuse here and then double tap the letter S. So SS in sequence, just to leave myself with this layer. Sorry, not this layer, this property. Now, while this is selected, I'm also going to press Command, Control on the Windows side and press on the other guys. And then I'll ask the script to select the matching property. So this is just going to dig in and select whatever I'm selecting in the first layer. And if I'm going to change the property over here, everything is going to change automatically together, which is, a lot of time saving. Now, by the way, I'm thinking, should I save it to the end or no? No, I'm going to show it to you right now because I told you that I'm working with this for a long time. If I'll click on the cogwheel again, it will tell me approximately how many minutes I've saved so far by using this tool. So actually good stuff. All right, so a lot of really nice stuff in terms of selection. Maybe this is not like the most exciting thing in the world. So, totally up to you if you want to use it or not in this case, but I think it's going to make your life very easy. Again, I'm just going to demonstrate another thing by, selecting all the child layers of a parent in this case. So very easily and very quickly. And I know there are tools and ways to do it inside After Effects. So obviously you can click on something, you can not double click, you can right click on it. And from the selection, you have select children and inverse selection. It didn't really do the same thing that I was aiming for, but, there are things that, you can do from the AE vanilla. And I just think that this actually works nicer and better. And because you were so patient and so nice, I just want to show you this before we're going to say goodbye to this composition. So let's just close it and I'll play it for you full frame. This is just a short promo trailer that I did a long time ago. Anyhow, this is concluding the selection section. So let's say goodbye to this composition by closing it and open up this guy and visit the layers with locking the layers option over here. Now, this is part of a commercial for a streamer that was created by Prometheus in Tel Aviv. You can see the logo over here and also the website. So if you want to see more of their stuff, go ahead and visit them. There are more people joining in from Nepal and from Pakistan. So hello to everyone who is joining the ride here. We are in the midst of talking about MoBar. And we are in the layers section. So again, a lot of really useful stuff in terms of layers. You can get a sense of how this comp is looking. And there are many things that this script is going to help you to do really quickly. So I'm going to just start with the obvious one, which is set anchor point. I know that you have probably your own panel that you are using, but let's just, to save you some time, let's say that I'm going to select this guy, or maybe the text here, and you can see the anchor point is in the middle of the frame. It's not in the middle of this composition. So what I can do, I can actually favorite this tool. And this means that it's now going to show up in the main interface. So I don't even need to see the entire thing. I can just click on it, and it's just going to pop up for a moment, giving me the option to do whatever I want to do. So I can just click on these things, and immediately I can change the anchor point. And of course, if I also need, I can add a controller. So totally up to you. Now, the reason this is not working, it's actually very strange. You see, I'm clicking on the middle point and it still insists of creating the anchor point in the middle of the screen. And this is some gotcha that After Effects is cooking for you, because this design started its life as a Photoshop design. And if you're bringing folders from Photoshop, After Effects is going to create a pre-comp for you automatically, and it's going to automatically highlight the sunshine icon, which is, if you're going to hover on top of it, by the way, and click, you're going to see the name is Collapse Transformation. So I just did a brushing on top of other stuff, and this is why it is working like this. So if I'm going to take it away, it's going to work, but I just want to show you something very quickly. So I'll double click on this, and you can see that this is basically not what I want the text to look like, because it's going to be very difficult now to change things here. So we can move between our stuff. I'm just going to quickly open up the composition options here, and we can use those options to automatically trim the composition or crop it to the desired location. Or if we are here, let's click on pre-compose, and I'm just going to show you that if you are going to do it from within After Effects, you can pre-compose both of them together, or you can auto crop the composition while you are pre-composing it. And this is just wonderful. So now if I'm going to double click, you can see this is exactly what I wanted. So if I'm going to go one level up, and I'm going to take this composition and place it over here, right? I have the same thing, but this time I'm dealing, I'm just going to say goodbye to the other guy, with something that I can control easily. It's just going to make my life a much more easier and faster. So this is, those gotchas that are waiting for you at the corners of the application, especially if you are working with Photoshop and Illustrator in this case. So back to the layers panel, we have a lot of options to duplicate layers. And by duplicating layers, you can, of course, create some very sophisticated duplications. I'm not going to, again, cover everything. I'm just going to show you shift layer times. If I click on this, you can see it's just going to move the layer over here. So again, those are things that you may already know in terms of how or which buttons to push, but it's really nicely organized here. You can also order the layers by selection. You can offset them. You can rename a bunch of layers. So let's say that I'm going to take all of these things, right? Which are those, I'm not sure how to call them, let's say swivels. And I'm just going to click rename layers, and I'm saying swivels, and I can also add some numbers. It's going to show me how it's looking, and just like that, everything is going to be sorted. Tom is asking, why is the quality downgraded when I checked collapse? The collapse, you mean the quality of the layer is downgraded? I don't think it's downgraded if you're checking collapse. Maybe elaborate more so I will be able to dig in and see what you mean. But I can't see any difference. So if I'm going to collapse the layer in this case, it looks the same. Maybe you're referring to something else. So I don't know. I mean, sometimes no is the best answer, but just give me more details and I will be happy to assist. Okay, so I'm going to just go through the list. This is actually very cool. Set label colors. Let's just select everything and click on set label colors. I think it's also working without selection. Let's try. So let's just unselect it. And Tom, I saw what you wrote. I'm going to return to it in a moment. Let's just continue with the flow here. So we have a couple of options to colorize the layers. I'll just show you. This is the order. I'll undo. This is the hierarchy. So it will give you colors depending on the hierarchy. And by colors, I mean labels. And I think this is my favorite type. So you can immediately see that all the green layers are Photoshop layers. All the cyan or blue layers are pre-comp. So, very nice and easy way to change the colors. All right, back to Tom's questions. Again, we are doing this live wiggle here. It says that sometimes the downgrading of the collapse transformation is happening when you're using an Illustrator layer. And again, I haven't encountered this. So let's open up a support call, you and I, and send me the file, and I'll try to look at it and let you know what I think. But, out of the blue or out of the, I don't really have an answer for you. Hopefully, it's not the end of the world. We always need to remind ourselves that, we are not saving lives. So this is, a special profession here. All right, so we have parent to null, very, very efficient way to select things here and immediately create a null with a lot of options. So individual nulls for each one of them, or maybe just a master null or a comp center null. After Effects create those nulls when it creates them. And the problem with those nulls is that, the anchor point is not in the center of the composition. So anyhow, this is it for this one. So, I have something that now will allow me to move and control just, a basic null that I can use to control other layers. In case, something was selected, it's also going to parent it. Parent to first selected, also very cool stuff. So I can select things like this and then use this to quickly parent everything to the first layer. And I actually need to be over here to show you that everything is being parented. So I'm just, I wasn't in the correct location. So those little things are going to save you each time, another second, another minute. It's really, really nice. Parent in order of selection, very nice and very cool for creating character rigs. And trim mats to layers. Again, if you're using, in this case, I don't have any track mats, but if you're using a track mat which is across the entire scene, you can click on this and it's just going to trim and organize all the layers really neat and nicely to you. You can also hide those mat layers and lock and unlock all the layers. So a lot of very, very cool stuff, but I'm doing it slowly. So I'm saving the cool stuff for, the later part of the show. So let's just say goodbye to this one. Again, I think, because we are looking at these things, it might be a good idea to just show you what it looks like in full motion. And I'm planning on creating a series of tutorials about integrating Photoshop with After Effects, Illustrator with After Effects, even InDesign with After Effects. And this is part of the tutorial with Illustrator, so with After Effects and Photoshop that I'm working on. So this is almost like a little teaser if you are one of my subscribers. And if not, please consider. All right, moving on, keyframes. This one is from Ido, from Dodo Motion. So we have a nice animation of this logo. That's it. I was silent for a few seconds, but I'm back. And I want to show you, things that you can do with the keyframes option. So let's just select the first layer here, press U to see the keyframes. And I'm going to skip the first one. Again, I'm not going to cover everything, and I'm going to show you this one. This is a very annoying thing that happens when you are, let's say, selecting all the keyframes and then holding down the Option key. It's going to be Alt on Windows, and moving the keyframes to change the speed. So let's say something like this. I want the first maneuver to be a bit faster. Now, hopefully you can see, I'm going to try to zoom in and move my mouse. The keyframe that After Effects created is not on top frame. It's just between them. So I can't really select the keyframe. I mean, I can select it, obviously, but it's not aligning it's not snapping to any one of the frames. And this can be a problem. So we have this option to snap keys to keyframes, to snap keys to frames. And now it's going to be on top of the frame. And if you stumble on this before, you are going to really appreciate this little tool. And I know that there are many scripts that can do a lot of the stuff that I'm showing here, but I think this is just, a one big shop or main shop, almost like, the best of. Now, this is what I call scripts that host everything in a single panel that just pop up when you need it. Again, if you want, you can favorite one of them and, off you go. Anyhow, let's just clone keys. Again, you probably know that this is an impossible task to do in After Effects. If you're going to copy and paste, it's just going to copy and paste the entire layer. So you can copy and paste just a single key, but not many keys. You can also clone and mirror. You can time reverse keys. So if, let's say, I'm going to select these guys and time reverse them. I'm not sure how it's going to work in this situation, but you can get a sense. This is it. Not the best implementation in the world, but this is just to show you how the tool works. You can shift keys in time, you can offset them, you can move the keys to the correct time, which is really, really helpful. So let's say that you want the animation of these guys to start from here, which is just this bar that drives the the end or the middle, the bridge of the A. This is what you can do. You can also align keys, and this is very cool, the keys looper. So if I'm going to select this one, for example, I'm not sure if this is the best example for this. I'm going to return to it later. But because I spoke about it, I'll click on it and show you that you can immediately enable or create the loop out or loop in expression with the selected type. So in this case, let's go with ping pong, create this loop, and now those keys are going to loop forever. And again, I don't think it's going to make sense, but you can see that it is working. And under the hood, if I double tap the letter E, you can see it has an expression. Now, the thing that I love about this panel is that everything is undoable. So, I don't need to think about disabling the expression or enabling the expression. I can just undo. By the way, there is an expression menu over here, which will help you to do these things. But this is, in a very nutshell, most of the stuff that you can do with it. All right, this is an important question. So breaking news, where to download the tool. Again, if you're following this on the YouTube channel, the links are underneath the descriptions. But if not, I'm just going to show it to you now because, now is the best time in the world. So here it is. It is part of aescripts.com/mobar. I'm just going to zoom in on the address so you can see it along with all the other favorites of mine. And you can try it for 14 days. And there are also a lot of, help and guides to give you a head start. But I guess this is why you are here. So I'm going to minimize it and continue with my spiel over here. I'll return back to the project. I'm going to say thank you for the keyframes and open up the composition comp that I've created. Wait for it and click on the composition. And of course, I'm going to click over here to lock it. So obviously there are 3D layers here, just in case you didn't notice. I'm going to switch quickly from my active camera to custom view 1, just to show you, if I press C, that I've already separated them in terms of 3D space. But I haven't created the camera yet. I'll press escape to return to the active camera. And before I click on create camera rig, I want to show you this, again, very cool thing that I demonstrated a moment ago, but it is so useful. If you are working with text layers in After Effects, you know this limitation. I want to show you the limitation and then the solution. So text layers are selected here. I'll go to layer, one of my favorite menus in the world. And then choose pre-compose, right? So pre-compose, we have this option of move all attributes into the new composition. We can open the composition. We can even adjust the duration. Let's click OK and see what happens. After Effects is just going to do the same thing that Photoshop did before. So those layers are, if I'm going to return, are basically occupying the entire space of the comp. It's not the most efficient way to work. I'm undoing it. And I'm going to click on pre-compose from the script. And even, there are like few features that justify the entire thing here. This is one of them. There are more, but this is one of them. So you can pre-compose each layer individually. You can do everything that I showed you in the previous menu, but this one, this is a godsend, auto crop composition. I'm also going to open it up and I'm going to say, well, this is the title, obviously. It's not going to give you the famous, most useful or unuseful name in the world, which is comp 1 or pre-comp. so you can name it. And I'm just going to say okay and show you that it's just going to crop it to the dimensions or the minimal pixels that it needs, which makes life much easier. Now it's still text. Of course, I can scale it. I can convert it to a 3D layer. And let's say that I want to move this layer so it will be more or less in line with one of the layers over here. Let's go with the wizard. I'll hold down Shift. I'll use the parent and link, and I'll parent it to the wizard. And then I'm going to Command or Control click on this parent pick whip to dismiss the relationship. This is just between us. So this is just, few After Effects tricks that I'm throwing at you. Hopefully you are recording this. I'm joking. I'm recording this. So anyhow, back to the main thing here. I'm going to click on Create Camera Rig. And just like that, I will be presented with this very fancy rigged camera with a null object, which is a shape layer. So it's not going to appear in your, solids folder for those of you who want to save some time. And we've got all the controls here using a single null object. And this is the best or one of the best way to control the camera without, thinking about it too much and without fighting with After Effects tools. Now, I must tell you, the 3D experience in After Effects has been improved dramatically over the last 2 years. But again, this is very cool because you can see we have access to the transform, to the dolly, to the track, to the pedestal. So we can do everything from here. Everything is keyframeable. We can change the focal length. We can enable autofocus if we want. We can also manage the depth of field options and movement, and even add some wiggle to the camera, for free. So let's just, be a little bit more brave with it and just, add this very, maybe lower frequency. Let's go with numbers that I can control. So 1 and 30, and the complexity, I'm going to leave it in this 1, just to show you how nice it works. So this is real godsend in terms of, how easy it is to, start from scratch and animate everything without creating. Of course, you can click on the After Effects camera, you can right click, you can go to camera, you can create an orbit null. You can do everything on your own. There's nothing that this tool is, basically, it's not like, an Element 3D or particular. It's not something that will bring functionality to the application that you didn't had before. It's just going to cut the time and will save you a bunch of, going back and forth when you are working with After Effects. So, those things are just amazing. You can also replace colors across the entire thing. And again, I arrived to a feature which I think justifies the entire package, which is this guy. This is so useful. I can't tell you how many times I wanted to just take, let's say, this composition and maybe also this composition, so the one that we saw, and export them as a new project. Now, again, I know that you can do it inside After Effects, but it is such a hassle. You need to go to the file menu. You need to go to the dependencies. You need to, of course, remember to save a project before, so you are not going to save on top of this project. Then you need to do reduce project, and then you need to collect the files. And then you need to phone your mother and tell her that these are taking you too much time, so you can't make it to Saturday evening, whatever. This is just a button here. So I'll click on it and it will ask me what I want to do. I'm going to say selected comps. You have a couple of options here. You can do for each one of them an individual project, which is going to be super useful if you want to import it to a different project. And then you can also open the folder just to see how this works. You can do the save number if you want. After Effects is going to force you to do it. But this time, I'm just going to do export only. And this is it. It's just going to show me. First, it's going to ask me how I want to name this. So I'm just going to give it my popular name, which is name. And it's going to do all these things behind the scene. This is the project. It has everything inside. I know you don't believe me. We just met. So I'm going to double click on it. And I'm just going to show you this is the slimmed version of this project with everything packed into this source folder, files folder. Super, super useful. And, just again, just for this option and the one that I showed you with the pre-compose, I think, and also this one, I think it's a stellar. All right, let's return back to this interface, which tucks all the tools away from us and move forward. At first, I'm just going to pause for a moment to drink something. And while I'm drinking, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm following the comments underneath so I can see everything. Tom is asking if I have a coupon. I actually asked them for a coupon, but they didn't respond. So the answer is no, but maybe in the future, go back to the live recording. If I'll get something, it's going to be in the description. So I hope they will appreciate the service. Again, I want to stress, this is not a sponsored video. I'm doing it because I think this tool is great. And I think it's worth your money, but I'm also a big fan of discounts. So I know what you mean. All right, let's take a look at this guy. Scary, right? Because he has a double X ruler. Ruler? Okay, this is just a transition, right? To the guides section. Actually, there is a project section that I skipped. So let's go to the project section before going to the guides and just park it. Few really cool stuff that you can do. Let's open up this composition. I think it will be easier to show you what I mean. You can reveal the selected layer assets in the comp. So, if you're going to click on it and then click on this, again, you can do it from After Effects with just the push of a button. I want to stress that if I'm going to favor it, it's just going to be a click over here and that's it. I don't even need to read this. So once I know and understand the icons here, it's going to do this for me very, very quickly. And I know that you can also assign keyboard shortcuts, but reveal current composition, super important. Reveal project folder. So here is the project folder. Actually, it's over here. This is just something different. The one that we just did. So it will show me the project in the Finder or Explorer level. But here are a couple of other stuff. You can also take a look at the AE scripts folder. So if you just want to manage it manually, this is the way to do it. Cool, warm, I guess it's cool, maybe just in the middle, I don't know. Create folder structure. This is actually nice. I'm going to click on it. You have a few options to choose from. So this is, basic, simple, essential, and master. And of course, you can create something from scratch. So you can add your own folders. And once you say update, it's going to update one of those settings. But if I'm going to just say basic and click apply, it's just going to create this bin with all those folders inside, which really help. But maybe this is better. And I know, again, some of the other scripts that you're using has this feature, but this one has this too. Organized project. You can see my project is not the most clean in the world. I have, a couple of more than few, not couple, layers, and there are, the solids over there is just a little bit of a mess. So this is like a house clean button. I can click on it. It's going to tell me this is, the suggested structure. You can do some customization, whatever you want. If I click apply, that's it. I have a nice and tidy project that I can now send to my friends, and they will think that I'm the most organized person in the world. So super clean, nice, and also clean up, remove unused item, remove disabled item, remove, make it very nice and tidy, as well as purge all memory and cache, which is very cool. I'm just going to click on it and click OK. And just like that, I'm going to be prompted with this message that I can say, don't show again, but everything is clean. I can start over if I have an, memory problem, which gladly I don't have. So this is in a nutshell the project, and let's go with the guides. Again, one of my favorite panels in this mobile panel. Let's return over here, and I can show and hide the guides. I can lock and unlock and clear. All of these options are over here. And if you memorize these keyboard shortcuts from another Adobe application, you probably know how to work with it. Nice. But what's more nice is, all of these options. I'm just going to start with, I'm thinking, what should I start? I'm just going to show you one simple thing, which is add guides at the middle of the frame. Very, very useful. Now, again, we can do it manually. We can drag some guides, but I didn't even need to make those rulers available. I can just click a button and there I have it. It's the middle of the frame. Now, the reason that I love guides so much is because they are snappable. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to take this and I'm going to start to drag it. And then if I'm going to hold the command key, it's going to snap to those guides, which is really, really nice. You can also turn on snapping if you just want to work like this from the get-go. Anyhow, I don't have any use for this one, so I'm just going to clear it. You can also create guides around the layer. So it's wonderful if you're designing logos inside After Effects. Just show you. You have something which it's just going to show you. So it's not show you. It's going to take you so much time to create manually. Michael is thanking me, and I'm thanking Michael. Not only that, I'm going to put this on, so everybody can see. So there you are, Michael. You are on top of everything. Yes. All right. Moving on. Where were we? I lost my train of thought, but I'm back again here. This is my favorite one. Create guide and grid system. I'll click on it and it's going to pop up a window. And even if you didn't pay attention and you're going to close it, you will be able to change it later. But let's say that we want the rule of thirds, right? I'm going to say 3 by 3. This is something that After Effects is missing by default. I mean, you can, use, some hack using the, not the guides, but the rulers. But, the problem is that they are not snappable. Anyhow, enough talking. Let's create those guides. And you can see that now I have, and I actually want to do this again. I'm sorry, because I want to show you. No, I don't need to do it again. I'm just going to do it. Sorry, my bad. I'm doing it too fast. Let's undo, do it again. 3 by 3, create guides. Looks like nothing had happened on the screen, but if I'm going to unshine this, sometimes I'm missing something. Anyhow, there's supposed to be a way to control it After Effects. Doesn't matter. I think I may need to select a layer, but this is what I want. You know what? Since I'm so compulsive, I'm going to try it again and see. Maybe I'm missing something. So create grids and guides. Here, this is the layer that I'm interested. Let's click create. Oh no. Let's do it again. Create grids and guides. And let's just click away this time and close it. Oh my God. I'm missing something. I don't know. There is an option to create it as well as, make it stick so we can change it after the fact. Doesn't matter for now. I have the guides that I need. Actually too many guides, but those are the guides that I need. The rule of thirds. I'll click on this very scary person. I'm going to drag it. So his eye is going to be on top of the PowerPoint. Nothing to do with Microsoft, by the way, but this is one of the PowerPoints of this. And then I'm going to click on this one and I'm going to bring it on top of this PowerPoint and it's automatically snapped to the place. So right now, arguably, I have a better composition. And if this is not your thing, you can click on Golden Ratio. And you will have this golden ratio grid, which is also something that a lot of people are going to be swear that this is the way to go. It will create a guide layer, so this is not going to render, with options to change it after the fact. So very, very useful. I'm just going to hide it for now. Was there another thing that I want to show you here? I'm going to just hide the guides, so you can do all of those things from here. You can toggle the snap, you can clear the guides, you can hide them. So just want to concentrate on this one. Let's bring it over here. And just for a moment, because I think it's a good example, I'm going to skip few buttons, with your permission, of course, to the text and show you that here in the text section, I have this wonderful thing, which is creating text reveal animation. I'll click on it. It's going to ask me how I want to do it. I'm just going to accept the default. Who cares? I don't know. I'm just going to press spacebar and show you what a nice way to create this very useful rig. You can do manual easing. You can change the speed so it will be slower. You have controls for the in, the out, the margin as well. You have plenty of stuff. Maybe you want it to come from the top and then go to the right. So, and I'm doing everything while I'm previewing, so, you know, it takes a bit more time, but you can see this is so cool. This can really save you time. I'm going to return to this in a moment, but, you know, I couldn't help myself. All right, next one is views. Let me see, did I get something? No. Did I miss something? No. So let's do the views here. Let's click to make sure we can see it and open up the shapes comp, I guess. It's going to serve us for this one. So we can solo some layers. We can create a white background, which is always a good idea. So here we have a white background. By the way, it is changing the composition background. So, you know, you don't create, you are not creating a new layer. For what it's worth, you can also toggle the transparency grid. And I know you can do everything from the composition panel, but we are lazy. We are lazy to go there. We can reset the views. We can, you know, but this is the cool thing. This is what I wanted you to see. Let's say that I'm working on, you know, few compositions and I'm basically creating scenes and I want my client to approve it. So I want to create some snapshots from each one of them. So basically I want to save a screenshot for each one of them. So I know, you know, that there are tools that can do it for you. For example, this one can, you know, copy to the clipboard, save it PNG. And by the way, this is just in case you haven't seen this before. I'm going to go to the window menu. This is the FX console from Video Copilot. Very, very useful stuff. You can do, by the way, almost everything using this tool as well, but this is something that even the FX console can do, which is selecting all of these guys, right? So all of my compositions, click on Save Screenshot for all the selected compositions, full resolution, why not? Transparent image, why not? And open saved folder. I'm going to say Save Image and point it to the desktop, say Save. It's going to do all the things for me in the background. I'm not really in the background, but it's really fast. And then I have a snapshot for each one of the comps. And it's actually going to take the current time indicator. So wherever you're going to leave the current time indicator, this is what you're going to get. I think it's a cool feature. Even if you're going to use it just once, I think it's worth the admission price. So yeah, not too interesting, but again, very, very useful. Let's go to the next one, which is expression. I think shapes is really, really exciting, but really quickly, let's speak about expressions. We can enable and disable expressions for all the layers. You may think it's an easy thing to do in After Effects, but let's say I'm going to select all the expressions, go to the keyframe assistant, and I'm trying to find and everything is dimmed. So After Effects is very spoiled in this regard. If you want to disable all the expressions, you know, we can't really do it unless I'm going to select each individual property with the expression, and then I can remove the expression. This one is going to allow you to enable, disable, or remove expressions to all the layers, as well as bake them to keyframes. What's cool about this thing is that if you have a favorite expression from, you know, whatever a website that you are using all the time, and, you know, if we are here all together in this like nice arrangement, I'm going to show you one of my sources. I'm sure you know it. There are, you know, a few websites that you can choose. This is one of them, which doesn't really load nicely now. So let's go to my backup resource, which is this one. And let's say that, I don't know, I want to copy one of the expressions over here. So we've got a lot of stuff that I can choose from. Let's go with, I don't know, loop in and out, all right? I'm going to copy this, right? And I'm going to return to After Effects. And over here in the plus, I'm going to add this expression as a snippet. I'm going to say, well, this is loop in and out. Oh, typing in front of people, so stressful. And now I can really easily just, you know, select a layer, press, I don't know, P, do whatever I want to do with it. Let's just take it over here, and then, just apply the expression. That's it. It's just going to work like this. So, really cool stuff in terms of, what you can do with expressions. So this is going to stick with the panel for as many times as you like. You can command or control click, you can control click on it. And it's going to allow you to move the tool up or down, or in the expression case, you can edit the expression. Or you can, of course, right click and just say, well, thank you, I don't want you anymore. I also failed to mention that you have 3 other setups. So you can create 3 different columns or rows, depending on how you are going to set it. So you're not stuck with the regular appearance. All right, let's go to shapes. I think this is really exciting. I'm going to open up the shapes and again, dock it so it will stick with us. And I know we are closing on the hour. I'm trying to cover everything within 1 hour. Maybe it's going to take more time. Let me know if you are in a rush and I'll meet you in the recording. But now I want to show you, for example, this really cool tool, which is the Circle Wizard. I'm going to click on it and I don't know, I'm going to start with a circle of 800. I want a fill, a white fill, maybe, I don't know, maybe also a stroke, which is going to be one of the colors from here. Let's grab this color. Looks like a crazy color. And I'm going to add a dynamic controller. I'm going to say create. Now, you may think to yourself, why? We don't need it. You already showed us in other tutorials that we have this lovely properties panel, which is something new in the After Effects world, and we can control everything over here. Well, totally right. However, there are things that even the properties panel can't do. So let me show you. I'm just going to hide it, and I'm going to use this controller to change the scale. I'm also going to select this layer, and I'm, holding myself not to use keyboard shortcuts, but what I really want to do is go to arrange and send this layer to the back. So there is a keyboard shortcut for it. Now I think it's going to make more sense because I want to put it maybe over here. And then I'm going to open up the stroke. And here is something that, as far as I know, can't be achieved easily using the After Effects tools and not the properties panel in any way. So we can create something like this, which is very, very cool. And we can control, of course, all the other things. For example, we can enable dashes. If dashes is your thing, it's definitely mine. So let's make it a bit more nicer. And we can animate the offset if we want it to circle around. Cool, cool stuff. Very, very nice. All right. So yeah, this is true for the rectangle as well. You can also create grid. You can connect elements. Super cool. So if you want between the custom and the garage, which are 2 different elements, you can create a connection. Let's just, again, make sure the connection is in different color, not this color. It's very difficult to see. Let's take something which is, untasteful, but will demonstrate the point. So let's say that now I'm going to take the custom layer and move it. I'm creating a connection between those 2 layers. Great for maps, great for other useful things. Trim path controller, super cool. Since those layers are already selected, let's take the trim path controller for a ride. So I'm going to select both of them and click on it. It doesn't work. Let's try it again. It doesn't work. Let's just try it again. Oh, what happened? An error. Yes, this is what everyone wants to see when we are doing live events. Something went wrong, and it can happen. So let's try again. Let's try to bring this again, and it doesn't work. So I'm going to do to quit After Effects, not in front of you because I'm, don't want you to see, but things like this can happen. And then I'm going to relaunch it again. And while I'm full frame in front of you again, I'm going to thank you for spending the time with me. And now After Effects is back and running, and I can, share my screen again. So let's just do this with the more or less same point that I arrived. So here we are. I think that we were at this stage. So let's just take this composition from where we are seeing it right now and again, make a bit more room, dock the shapes, and click on Trim Path Controller. Yeah, now it's working. Excellent. We can see that we already have animation. And we can see that we can swap the direction here. And we can see that it is controlling both of them together at the same time. So, of course, I can change the keyframes and I can make it more slow or fast, or maybe change the offset. Saves me a bit of a time. Not the, the big lifesaver in the world, but yeah, nice tool. And again, if I want, I can select the two layers. Let's say that I want to change the something that the tool doesn't allow me to change. I'm just going to say trim to look for trim path. And instead of simultaneously, I'm going to say individual. And this is going to take the custom word and just throw the letters one after the other. All right, this is just, for me to use something small. So this is one thing that you can do. You can also separate layers to shapes or merge them. So you know what? Let's do this number. Let's undo everything that we did so far, because I was stupid. I actually want a single layer, not two layers, because I want to animate them together. So I'm just going to click on Merge Shape Layers. And it's going to bring everything inside this one single layer. And to this layer, I'm going to add the Trim Path Controller. All right, so now it's going to help me to be more efficient, all right? See, I'm saving you time. You also have this cup joiner miter for round, bevel, and other things. You can select all the strokes, all the fills. You can toggle between them, which is super, super cool. And you can do the opposite number. So instead of merge shape layers, you can separate to different, individual shapes. Very, very cool. I already showed you, my favorite thing in terms of the text. So I'm not going to, visit this again, but, you also have like wiggle text if this is something you like to do. And since we are running out of time, I want to finish with a bang. So I want to show you the animation tools, which I deliberately saved for last. So these are, few of the things which I think really, again, justified the ticket price. I'll show you what we have here. We have an Illustrator, a document which I started to animate, and by starting to animate, I have this very, very awful animation of this drawer. All right, so let's just take this awful animation, and just to show you, it consists of 2 keyframes for the position. And I'll select all the label groups. So I'm going to select all the other layers, almost everything. Not exactly, the shadow should be, which is the floor. I'm going to leave it as is, as well as the background. I'm going to return to the basketball and the lamp in a moment. And I'm going to say, well, delay all the other layers. And let's see what it does. I need to choose a property, of course. So the property is the position. And then I'm going to shift click on all the other layers. And now I can click on delayer. And now I'm going to press spacebar to preview it. Oh my God. So much time has been saved. I didn't need to do trim and move those layers. But the animation is very robotic. It doesn't really worth our time. So I'm going to select the position and ask the script to add some elastic motion. Now I'm only adding the ingredients to my first layer, but since everything is following it with the delayer, I'm going to call it effector, because it works almost like an effector if you're coming from Cinema 4D. I can control everything with this one instance. So if the overshooting is too much, I can reduce it. And I have some other custom values for the amplitude, frequency, and decay, which I can really help. I can really, work and do numbers on them. So let's just take the clock, for example, and let's just bring this one up. So I just want to change it, and for some reason it won't allow me to do it. So I'm just going to use the anchor point. The reason that it did it is because this clock has the different anchor point. Now, it's just so I can demonstrate if I'm changing the anchor point, if I'm going to place the anchor point on top of it exactly like it was. I can, and it didn't really make sense before, but I can, make it spin as well. So hopefully this is looking, it's not looking the best, but, just so I will be able to show you the spin. We also have like a blinker and delayer and a bounce, as well as a bend. So let's just quickly see the bounce. And I need to tell you something. There are some tools which are free, and you can actually use them even if you are not buying the entire the full what is the name of it? The full script. So again, let's just return. Let's say, I think it should be over here. No, it's not. So I'm just going to, it's worth your time. So bear with me 1 second, because as always, I forgot the name of the, this is just to show you that, I'm not affiliated by them. I don't even remember the name of the developer, but I will copy and paste it over here just to show you that you can, of course, buy it directly from them. But there are like few freebies, and I'm going to demonstrate the bounce and the bend. You also have the folder structure tool, the one that I showed you that organized the project. So you can download this for free, and they are saying new freebies coming soon. Good to know. All right, so let's just take the basketball, for example. Let's go to the beginning, and let's add the, you know what? Before I'm going to do this, I'll press the letter P, right-click, and separate the dimensions. I think it's just a better way to work. You don't need to do it. It's just my way of showing it to you. I'll click on Bounce. There are a few options. I'm just going to skip them for the moment and click Apply. And then I'm going to say, well, the bounce of the ball, let's just solo this guy, maybe also with the other elements, so it will make sense for us. I'll click on Y position over here, maybe after 10 frames. Should be enough. And then I'll raise it like so. So we have a bouncing ball. Brilliant. Many expressions can do this. However, you have some other stuff here. You can use squash and stretch, which is going to create this very realistic animation. You can change the gravity preset. So if I'm going to go with light, it's going to bounce even more. You can change the maximum bounces. And you can also, and this is very cool, do this auto rotate number. And for this, I'm going to bring back all the other layers. So actually what I want to do here, and this is why I separated the dimensions, I want the ball to touch or almost touch his shoe here. So I'll create a keyframe for the X. I'll move it over here. I'll go to the beginning, and then I'll move the X value to the edge. Of course, you can add shift to do it. So this is how it's going to look. I'm laughing because it's not good. But you have the auto rotate option. I'm going to turn it on, and I'm also going to tell it to keep rolling. And look at this. And I know it may look like, not a big deal. Let's just easy in this keyframe. But this is very complicated task, even for an experienced animator. A bouncing ball. I remember once somebody wanted to check my After Effects skills. They actually gave me a mission to create this by hand. And you can do it using, the graph editor and other stuff. But this is so flexible. I can make it slower. I can make it faster. I can change my mind after the fact. I can offset. I can choose the rotate power, so I can make it, even rotate even more. And I have this built-in squash and stretch and squash. So good. What else? I'm going to close with the lamp. For the lamp, I'm going to add a bender deformer. And I'm going to show you what it does. It does this number, so I'm going to flip it, something like this. So maybe -30 at the beginning, and then after, I don't know, 2 seconds, let's do the opposite. Press U to see the keyframes. Press F9 to easy ease the keyframes. Okay, looks good. Let's also have an elastic motion to it. Of course, I need to select P and tell it to do some elastic motion while it is, bending. And there is a method to my madness, so stick with me, please. So yeah, position, elastic motion. All right. We have some sort of a problem. You may saw that we are actually seeing the edge of the lamp here. All right. So a quick fix from me to you. CC Reptile. Let's just take this and place it, I guess, at the beginning. Change this to checker flip vertical and expand it up. Yes. All right. All right. So very, very cool. And the last thing that I'm going to do, because, you know, it's just stick in the air, doesn't do anything, is select the position here. And I'm going to use my keyboard shortcuts to loop something. So I can't remember where it is. I'm just going to say loop. Not so many loops. So here it is, the key looper. I'll click on it. Yeah, ping pong seems to work. And that's it. It's going to do everything, and it's going to loop in and out. Now, I didn't meant for it to loop the position. This is my stupid behavior over here. So I'll undo it, make sure that I'm actually looping this guy. So I'll double click on the bend. This is what I would like to loop. So again, I'm going to search for key looper. It's already here. And then I'll create keyframes, or actually expressions for this. And now it looks like I wanted it to look. Yeah, I think we need an applause. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. And as always, for your lovely comments across the board. I hope this overview of Mobar was useful for you. I really think it can save you time, and I really use this tool. And I thought that, you know, it's worth to cover everything here and do something a little bit more extended, not in the form of a 10 minutes tutorial. So hopefully you agree. If you have any questions, make sure to write them down below in the comments. I'm going to return and watch and of course moderate them. But for the time being, I want to say goodbye, and I'm going to see you next time. So take care. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you soon.